Okay, what's that, Kathleen?
Good evening. This is the special meeting of Livingston's Planning Board. Notice of this meeting has been published in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Mr. Reber? Yes. Mr. Lewis? Here. Mr. Dufford? Here. Mr. Buptani?
Here.
Ms. Khanna?
Here.
Mr. Fernandez?
Here.
We have a quorum. We also have our board attorney and our board planner.
Great, thank you very much, Catherine. If you can please call the first matter.
That's a preliminary and final site plan with variances for Block 2504, Lot 20, 349 East Northfield Road, application number 2026-8-PFSPV, Altera Northfield LLC in the PB3 zone.
Thank you and welcome. I assume the three of you are together? Yes. Okay, so since there's no members of the public here, I'm not going to go through the introductory spiel. So it's all yours, whenever you're ready. Yeah, good evening, Erica. Oh, microphone? Oh, microphone.
Got it. Can you hear me better now? Erica Antonia Parlavecchio from Chiesa, Shahinian, and John Tomasi on behalf of the applicant Altera Northfield LLC. We're just going to have two witnesses this evening. I can do a brief introduction.
Yeah, please. That'd be terrific.
I did put on the computer exhibits that we're going to show and that I can go through. They've all been previously submitted, so unless you think we need to...
So nothing new, so we don't have to mark
Nothing
anything?
new.
Okay.
It's just a compiled package of the survey with the signs, the site photographs, and then the two images of the signs.
Great.
So just as briefly as an introduction, the applicant is before the board this evening seeking preliminary and final major site plan approval to install two ground-mounted signs on the property for identification purposes related to the existing medical office building. The installation of the signs requires a few variances for the number of signs, setbacks from the property line, as well as sign width. We'll just have two witnesses this evening, David Prusel from Sign Source, who will talk about the signage and the installation and construction. And then we also have a professional planner, Catherine Gregory. So if you don't have any questions for me, I'll introduce my first witness.
Yeah, actually, wait, I'd like to swear all the witnesses in at once.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to swear all the witnesses in, including the board professionals, and then if I can just get a spelling of your names slowly and clearly so I can make sure I get it right. That's phenomenal, just so that I can get the spelling correct in the resolution.
It's a long name. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Are you related to Michael?
I am, yes, cousin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyway, if you could step forward, and then I'm going to swear everybody in. If you could raise your right hand, everybody, including you, Gabe. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're going to give in this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Okay. And starting with you, sir, if you could.
David Prusel, the last name is spelled P-R-E-U-C-I-L.
Okay. And Catherine?
Catherine Gregory, I'll give you my...
Thank you so much. And Gabe, we don't have to spell your names.
I'm not sure how to share this on here. Okay. Is this on? Okay. So I'll stand over here so I could play Vanna White, I guess. But so David, can you just give the board the benefit of your professional background and educational background?
Certainly. I'm the principal and owner of Sign Source. We are a vertically integrated sign company in Westfield, New Jersey. We've been in operation for about 25 years. The nature of the signage that we've been approached to assist Altera with here is very standard for the type of signage that we produce and install.
And David, you've testified before other boards previously.
Many times.
He's not an architect or an engineer, but I guess I would just ask he be accepted as an expert related to signage. Yes.
Any questions? Thank you. The board accepts you as an expert. Thank you.
Thank you. So what I'm showing on the screen now was previously submitted, I believe, in June as part of our resubmission. It's the survey that shows the location of the two signs. So David, if you wouldn't mind, can you just give the board a little bit of background on the property as well as the size of it as well?
Would you prefer me to speak into this microphone or stand here?
Whatever's, either side.
This is fine.
Right there is good.
Okay, we were asked to take a look at this property for our client and come up with a signage plan. What we realized is that any signage would be a real challenge because the property is located so close to the street. There really is no front setback. There's no front yard. And there's very limited real estate available back at the entrance to the parking lot to place any kind of identification sign there. So we came up with a plan for 2 signs, one in the front of the building.
I guess, David, before we go to where the signs are, if you wouldn't mind, is it accurate to say that the property is about 2.5 acres, give or take?
Correct?
And would it be fair to say, based on this image on the survey, that the property has an irregular shape to it?
Yes, very much so.
And to your knowledge, the existing building is used as a medical office, is that correct?
Also correct.
Okay, and so we can move on to the proposed signs. Do you want to start with the one on Northfield?
Sure. What we're proposing is a small tenant directory to be placed at what is the perfunctory front entrance to the building. I'm not sure that that entrance is the primary way that people are coming in and out of the building. But we're proposing putting the sign in an existing raised planter bed that actually extends up over the first several stairs of that entrance cascade up to the front of the building. The sign that we're proposing is quite small. It's 5 feet high, 60 inches tall, 6 feet wide. The top of the sign will be, as I mentioned, about 5 feet above the planter bed. That planter bed is 1.5 or 2 feet high, raised from the sidewalk level. So the top of the sign will be about 7 feet from the sidewalk.
And David, well, these are site photographs that were also previously submitted to the board. I think in terms of the Northfield sign, it might be beneficial to kind of walk around the front of the property. So as I go through the images, if you wouldn't mind just describing what is shown on these images.
Okay. All right, so we're at the corner of Cedar and Northfield. There's a traffic light at this intersection. The building can be seen behind the Exxon station. If you are unfamiliar with the building and unfamiliar with the area, you might not be aware that that's the building you're looking for if you're at that traffic light. The entrance to the parking lot requires you to make a left at this light. Since you're probably still looking for the building, you're likely to travel through the traffic light, realize as you're in front of the building that you are at your destination, at which point you've already gone past it. So then you need to loop around and now figure out how to get into the place, which is a challenge if you're heading the direction that we're looking. I don't remember what compass direction that is, because you would have to turn around and then come back.
And David, the top image that I'm kind of hovering my mouse over, that
Yep.
shows the planter
There is
area.
the existing raised planter bed, which is back from the sidewalk, and as I mentioned, extends out over the first 3 steps of the entrance, and that's where we're anticipating installing the directory sign.
And I'll move on to 2 additional images. So we can go into more detail about the sign at the back parking lot, but if you could just describe these 2 locations as well.
So right where your mouse is right now is a small semicircle area, no landscaping. It's delineated by a curb line. That parking sign or whatever it is, I don't believe exists any longer. The post may be there, but not the sign. But that's where we're anticipating putting the sign. That is the entrance to the parking lot that is behind the building, and that serves as well, it's the parking lot for the building.
And then the second image is also along Northfield, but just kind of further down the street, is that correct?
Yeah.
And the next 2 are very similar views, but from the opposite side of the building, is that accurate?
Correct.
Also along Northfield?
Yes.
And so these next 2 images I'm going to show, they're a little grainy, but they also were previously submitted to the board as part of the package. And I think, David, it might be helpful in terms of describing this sign, how tall the letters are, as well as the width of the sign itself.
Sure. As I mentioned, the cabinet height is 5 feet. The width is 6 feet. The height of the letters, 349, each of those letters or numbers is about 14 inches. The height of the text in the top two tenant panels, those are 7-inch letters. The capitals are 7 inches. The height of the text in the 5 smaller tenant panels is 4 inches.
And David, I guess the purpose of this sign is to have a larger address so that it can be easily identified on Northfield, is that correct?
Critically, to provide a street address for identification purposes, and then also to provide information as to who the tenants are in the building.
And for purposes of clarification, because I think on the plans, the signs are shown to be straddling the property boundary line. Can you describe how the signs are going to be moved backwards so that we are at a 0-foot setback and no longer over the boundary line?
Correct. Our original proposal had the sign cabinet towards the front of this planter bed. We've now moved it back to be at a 0 clearance from the property line.
So we are no longer in the county right-of-way or
Correct.
municipal right-of-way, is that correct?
Correct.
And the variance related to this sign, can you describe what the variance relief is related
The
to?
variance requires a setback from the property line. If we were to comply with variance as it currently exists in code, that sign would be more than halfway up the steps of the property. There's simply no good place to put the sign.
And in terms of circulation, either pedestrian or vehicular, in your experience, based on where this sign is located, do you anticipate any issues with the location of this sign?
No, the sign is well placed back from the sidewalk, so there's no interference with pedestrian traffic, and there's no interference with sight lines of traffic traveling up and down Northfield.
Okay, I think we can move, unless the board has questions about this sign, I think we can move to the next one. So David, I guess we've shown previous images. This sign is at the back of the parking lot.
Correct.
And how big is this sign and how tall and wide are the letters and numbers?
The sign panel that you see there is 36 inches tall. It's 8 feet wide. The height of the numbers 349 is 27 inches tall. The small text that you see there, that's all 6-inch high text. This will be double-sided, so that same information will be on the uphill side, visible to people coming down Cedar towards Northfield.
In terms of variance relief, a variance is required for the sign as it is 96 inches in width, whereas 72 inches is permitted, is that correct?
Correct, and we've sized it here so that the information on the sign will be visible and can be visible by traffic coming up and down Cedar. It's especially important that this be visible as people are making the turn from the traffic light, which is about 100 yards or so this side of that sign, because it's not immediately apparent as you are approaching this building for the first time, how to access the building. And we want to make that as clear as possible.
And this sign as well on the plans is currently shown to be over the property boundary line, but can you confirm for the board that this will be moved back so that a 0-foot setback will be
It's
required?
our intention to install it at a 0 clearance. And I bring your attention to the retaining wall that's immediately behind the sign. The further to our right that this sign gets located, the more difficult it is for people who are coming down Cedar towards Northfield to actually see this sign.
Yeah, that was my question. So if you're going south, so you're coming from the north going south, you can still, that sign is visible if you're coming toward the traffic light, that you'll see it, the retaining wall is going to block it.
The retaining wall is an issue. I would, absent zoning requirements, I would want that sign moved out another couple of feet for exactly that reason, so that the retaining wall doesn't hide it from traffic that is coming down
But
towards.
it'll still be somewhat visible if somebody's,
It still will be visible if we can place it at a 0 setback. Yeah.
And David, related to both signs, can you describe the material of the signs?
Both signs are fabricated. They're aluminum cabinets. Neither are illuminated. Both will be a dark brown, a Duronotic bronze color, and the text and the letters, numbers that you see on the sign will be in a white.
And in terms of the colors of the letters and the sign itself, is it accurate to say that that was driven by the Business Improvement District comments that we received?
Right, the original sign, directory sign that we submitted had the colors here reversed. We were asked to, we had a white background and dark letters. We were asked to change that, and that's what you see here.
And in terms of construction, just briefly, can you describe how the signs are placed and what impacts it might have on the planting bed and the?
So
mulch
both
at
of
the
these
back?
signs will be installed with what we call a direct burial method. We will dig some very small diameter holes, about 3 feet deep into the ground. We anticipate disturbing, there's no vegetation, nothing, no landscaping to disturb. With the parking lot sign, there may be some seasonal flower plantings in the flower bed, which would be moved or rearranged so that they're not in the way of the sign. I mentioned we'd be placing some poles in the ground to a distance of about 36 inches down below frost line, and then dropping the cabinet on top and securing the cabinet in place there.
And there was a comment in the review letter related to impacts to parking spaces. Can you confirm there will be no impacts to parking spaces?
We are not interfering with any of the existing parking.
I don't think I have any further questions. I leave it, if the board has questions, I have nothing further.
Have you been to the site?
Yes.
Have you talked to the Exxon station? People,
I
how
have
many
not spoken with the
people
Exxon
might
station.
drive into the Exxon place because they have no idea where to go?
I would imagine
You know.
that that is not an infrequent occurrence, but
Right.
I have
didn't
no
know if you-
firsthand knowledge of that.
I'm not, we shouldn't do a traffic study or anything like that.
Yeah, not to get anybody nervous.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Your sign at the front of the building has 7 spots.
Correct.
How many tenants are in the building?
currently, I'm not sure exactly how many tenants are
I
in
know
there,
there's at
but
least 15 to 20.
I don't know that I'm in a position to give you a definitive answer. I don't think it's that many. But that would be a question for the real estate manager.
if we want to take a recess after the testimony, I can ask, but we're proposing 7 tenant names. In terms of how many are there today, I'm not certain.
I guess the question is.
There's more than 7 tenants in that building. I know that. I guess, who pays best or how it goes.
Spaces.
I mean, I would say it would be driven by the various tenant leases if they would, the lease would say if they
Or I
get
guess maybe,
signage.
or perhaps just an address sign without any tenants, and if you're not putting them all up, what's the purpose of the tenant signs? But, okay, I understand.
Yeah, and David, today there is currently no signage in that location. There's only a
whatsoever.
building
None.
number, is that correct?
Correct.
In the picture with the Exxon station, is there those little signs in front? Is that like Rudy Fernandez?
Sorry, I think somebody's waving at you at the back.
I didn't know if these little signs in front were like for Rudy Fernandez for mayor,
Then
or
they're very, very old.
they're very old, like the little signs in the front one. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, I mean,
problem.
these were
It's
taken
blocking
from-
up
They
the
were taken
scenery.
from Google Maps, so I'm not sure how old they are, but, yeah.
Just a
They're very old,
question
very
on the sign on East Cedar Street. Is there a possibility we could put some sort of vegetation around that sign to make it look a little more?
I'm not a landscaper, but that's mostly decayed asphalt. I believe it was paved over at one point, so
Oh, so nothing would last?
as far as I know and from what I can just see anecdotally, it doesn't look like anything has ever been planted there.
Okay.
Question again about the sign on East Cedar. I do realize the first time I went looking for that building, I couldn't find it. And I went in loops. This was 20+ years ago. Now I know where it is, and I can cut through behind the gas station. This sign with the retaining wall right behind it, I still feel that it may not be so visible coming from East Cedar towards Northfield. I'm not a signage expert, you are, so pardon me if I misspeak, but as a person trying to come to the building for business, I think if the sign was vertical, 349, there's a greater chance of me spotting it from a distance. Then I only see 3, and then I come closer, I see 4, and then when I'm very close, I cross the wall, I see 349. So from usage, from practical aspect, as a person who's been through this hunt,
It actually looks like the one in the front too, so there's kind of some,
So
symmetry.
a few comments. I think the observation is well taken. When we have the luxury of staring at these signs, so we have the ability to read them, a well-designed sign like this is actually not intended to be read. It's sort of intended to be just sort of immediately absorbed. When you have vertical text and vertical numbers, it takes us longer to absorb that information than when it's horizontal. That would be one thought. The second is that if we went vertical, then we'd have another zoning issue because we'd be too tall.
how tall is this right now from the ground? The whole sign?
That's a 36-inch tall cabinet, and we're showing it a little over 3 feet above the ground, about 3.5 feet or so above the ground.
So 6
the
foot.
top of it is 6.5 feet
Okay.
high.
So really, the purpose is, here's a sign, this is where I should turn.
Here's 349, right.
I think sign is important in that area. It's hard to find.
I had two questions. One, when you're coming south on Cedar towards Northfield, I agree, it's going to be tough to see, but looking at least on Google Maps, it looks like there's a ton of scrub and bushes and stuff hanging on the side of the embankment there, which I think is church property, but I might suggest you might ask them if they care if you trim it back or cut it back.
It's a
Might just
conversation
help.
we've had, yeah.
And the second question was, you obviously moved it so that as to not be in the right-of-way. Is that a big deal to get permission to be in the right-of-way? Because then you could move it the way you would much prefer it, closer, and make it more likely. I'm not in, experience with what it takes if the county signs off on that, or
I
if they
don't
care, or-
believe we have any flexibility.
No.
I don't think we can be in the right-of-way.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, all right, if it's in the township right away, the township council would have to sign off that. In terms of the county, it's worth exploring. I don't know offhand if it can be in the right of way,
The
but
county doesn't
it's worth
care or
exploring.
Something like that, because they're not going to widen this road.
Yeah, I think the intention was to keep it out of the right-of-way because of, the uncertainty of getting county approval to do so. And I think, as explained, it makes more sense to kind of pull it away from the property line. But I think we could explore it, but I think the application now is more preferable. We'd had conversations with the county related to the sign, and we pulled it back.
What do you think about the Hollywood sign, that's what make it more visible?
Up on top, yeah. Yeah, thanks, Mike. I mean, and even if you were to go to the county, I mean, how much relief would they give you? And how much of a difference would it really make? I understand it'd be great if you could move it out there, but, yeah. But I think Barry's point is also very well taken. I mean, if the church will let you, get rid of a lot of that scrub, that should be helpful as well.
Yeah, sounds like you had conversation with them?
With the county, not the church.
I've had conversation with my client.
My office has been in communication with the county when we realized initially the signs were located within their right-of-way. We didn't make a formal application, but we had, informal discussions about the location of the sign, and the decision was made in conjunction with our client to pull it back to be entirely within the property line.
Right. So I had similar concern as well, that for this one to be really meaningful, your sign is properly readable coming from Northfield, and you make a left on East Cedar to go into the building. It serves its purpose. It is required in a way that, as you explained, I have past experiences not finding the building when I was trying to look for first time years ago. So yes, that is that pain point. Coming from East Cedar, your expert experience is like this kind of flashes saying, hey, there is something here, pay attention and make a turn. My question to you is, how far is it from the retaining wall? Are you coming in? That makes it more visible. I mean, I'm not trying to design the solution here, but how far it is from the, it makes a lot of difference as you come closer or away from the retaining wall.
I
if you
don't
pulled it
recall
further in that
exactly,
picture.
but it's some number of feet.
And it
4,
is
5, 6,
maximum
6
allowed?
feet.
Okay, maximum allowed for you, is that how far you in?
Our setback from the rear property line is compliant.
Okay.
if
No, but I
that's
think
the
the
question.
question was if you, in the picture, if you pulled it closer to the curb, you'd get some
More
better
visible.
angle sight line coming south.
Right,
But you
and
don't want to get in the parking lot.
The one challenge that then becomes more of an issue is snow plowing. Wet, heavy snow
Pile up
pushed up
against
against that post and over it goes.
Right.
So there are factors to balance here, but we'd love to make it more visible, so bringing it towards us makes it more visible, moving it to our left makes it more visible, but we have constraints.
Right. The concern is, and that's why I think most of us are asking this question, is we don't want you to be in a position where, yeah, this solves 60% of the problem. And then it gets realized, hey, 2 years down the road, it really doesn't solve the East Cedar part of it, and you're back again and, trying to do something else. So that's the reason I think, at least from my perspective, is all these concerns are being discussed here.
So in your professional opinion, based upon the limitations that you have, this is a reasonable alternative to provide, southbound drivers the ability to see the sign and find the driveway?
I think, given the constraints that we've been discussing, this is the best solution.
Okay. That was really, the part of what my question was, okay.
And David, there's currently no signage there
No
today.
signage at all, yeah.
Or maybe-
Correct.
Not to belabor it, and maybe we just put something, you make diligent efforts, but I don't know if you looked at the tax map, it's very odd. The East Cedar County right-of-way is 76 feet wide up until that retaining wall, and then it narrows down to 66 feet. So that's 9 feet wider, just basically the length of the Exxon and your driveway. And so 4.5 feet, it seems to me the county wouldn't particularly care. I don't know if you can see this, but it narrows down right there. It's just on the. Right.
Are there any other questions for this witness? Seeing none, just to cross our Ts and dot our Is. Any members of the public have any questions for this witness as to his testimony? Seeing none?
We just have a professional
Yeah,
planner.
well, let's move on to your next witness.
Yeah. Catherine, you've already been sworn in, but can you give the board the benefit of your educational and professional background?
Yes, I'm a licensed professional planner in the state of New Jersey. I've been licensed since the year of 2000. I am the principal of Gregory Associates, which I started in 2007. I've testified throughout the state of New Jersey since the year of 2000, so that's been hundreds of communities. I'm also the planner in the borough of Edgewater over in Bergen County. I'm the zoning board planner in the borough of Paramus and the borough of Fairlawn. I actually grew up in Union, and I used to go roller skating at the Livingston roller rink back in the day. So it's kind of nice coming back to Livingston. Anyway, and I know Gabe very well because a million years ago, he actually used to work for me. Long time ago.
I asked that she be accepted as an expert in the field of professional planning.
Any questions from the board? Any objections? Thanks, and the board accepts you.
Thank you.
And Catherine, I guess I'll just let you take it away. I don't have too much to say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that we went over the site and the site constraints. This is a very unique site. I think that building was built before zoning existed. It's so close to the road. There's really almost no room on either side to access the site. And then we obviously have this little slither of land that goes out to Cedar. So talk about a unique situation regarding a specific piece of property. Excuse me, I just got Invisalign, so I'm learning how to speak again. Anyway, so when we talk about the variances that we need, we know that there's the two types, the C1, which is in cases of hardship, and the C2. I would honestly say that all of these are sort of a flexible C1, C2. We've kind of talked about the hardships of the site. It is very unique. We have this building that is so close to the road, and David also mentioned to you that if we were going to meet the setbacks for the sign, that it would be where the stairs are in the building. So a sign does need to go somewhere. I know there was a comment about not having all the tenants on the the sign in the front. But what I have learned from my experience as a planner is that in offices, there are some specific tenants that want to be on a sign. They want their name outside. And so that can sort of make or break like the building itself in terms of it being successful or not. So that's something that I have learned throughout my career. So that's why that would be important, at least, on the one side. And we're not asking for that on two sides, but what we are asking is for two signs which are actually not permitted. But as we stated before, we have two frontages. So it's pretty much warranted that we would have one on each side. And when we talk about that, like a lot of times it's like, okay, we don't want to have more than one freestanding sign on a site. And while I get that, that's like signage litter, if you will. You can't even see one from the other. So you're never going to see one and see the other one at the same time. It's never going to happen based on just the sheer size of the site. So I don't think that having the two signs is a concern. I think it is warranted for the two access points. And then we talked about the sign setback. Obviously, you guys really discussed the one on Cedar. In an ideal world, we wouldn't have this retaining wall, but unfortunately, we do. And while that sign might not be fully visible for drivers in one direction, it will be fully visible for drivers in the other direction, and it doesn't impede any sight lines. The sign that is also on East Northfield also will not impede any sight lines. It's far enough back from the road, even from the sidewalk, that it's not going to impede any sight lines. So I do believe that the sign setbacks are warranted. Regarding the sign width for the proposed sign at East Cedar, 72%, 72 inches is permitted, and we're proposing 96. And our sign expert kind of talked about that a little. We're extending the sign out 2 feet, but the sign is only 36 inches where we're allowed to have 60 going high. So when you look at like the square footage of the sign, it really kind of meets the intent of the ordinance. But when, David talked about the wow, like I need to just see the sign, it's the number and the arrow. And so we need it big enough for drivers to be able to see that, particularly at the intersection as he had discussed. So with that said, while I say that, I think it's a flexible C1, C2, we have some unique conditions on the property, but then I do believe that we promote special reasons, which is promotion of the purposes of the municipal land use law. Purpose A is noteworthy, promotion of public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. We always need signage so that we can safely enter and exit a property. And also, there is another purpose of the municipal land use law that talks about encouraging safe transportation routes, and that's purpose H, which also that's what the signage does. I don't believe in terms of the negative criteria that there's any substantial detriment to the public good. I think you're enhancing the public good by allowing these signs at the two along the two frontages, excuse me. And I don't believe there's any substantial impairment to the intent and purpose of the zone plan and zoning ordinance for the granting of these variances. I understand the rationale, as I stated before, about only having one freestanding sign, but we have a unique condition. Not only does this have two frontages, the frontages are separate. They don't even meet at the corner. So in terms of the substantial impairment to the intent and purpose of the zone plan and zoning ordinance, I also did look at your last master plan, which was prepared in 2018. And it actually has a couple of goals that one of them follows suit with purpose H of the municipal land use law, because it talks about encouraging the location and design of transportation and circulation routes and parking facilities that will promote the efficient flow of traffic, and that's what the signage does. And then goal 11 specifically talks about safe residential and commercial areas, and it goes through creative development techniques and some other things, but it also goes to control of fences, walls, sign, and signage. So I believe that's what we're doing here. So I do believe that we promote two purposes of your master plan as well. So with that said, I do believe that we meet the positive and the negative criteria for the granting of the, well, technically five sign variances, because we need one for the extra freestanding sign, then we also need the size, and then we also need the setback for each of the signs. 4. I'm sorry, that's 4.
Yeah.
Apparently I can't count tonight either. I can't speak, I can't count, sorry.
I have no further questions for Ms. Gregory unless the board or the planner does.
Any questions from the board?
To what Mr. Dufford had pointed out earlier, that there are only 7 plates for tenant names. So there has to be more tenants. It's a very big building. So in the future, if there are more names to be added, will,
Well, if the sign is changed, they'll have to come back before.
Absolutely, yeah.
right.
So right now, it's the sign that they're the size that they're proposing. If they suddenly want to make it bigger because they want to put more names in, they're going to have to come back here.
Perfect.
Correct.
They could split names on that front side.
Yeah, I just don't have the information in terms of what tenants are there, what their leases say, but yes, if we wanted to add more names, we would come back before the board.
Sounds like you mentioned something that alluded to that. I heard in your testimony that it's part of the deeds or the lease that they arrange saying their names will be on the sign, the renters, that their names will be on the sign or not, something like that, right?
Typically, yes, a
I just
lease
heard
would
that.
provide if a tenant would have signage and where that signage would be.
Anybody else? Any members of the public have any questions as to this witness, as to her testimony? Seeing none. Any closing?
I have no further witnesses. I would just say in closing, as discussed at length, I think the property is a very irregular shape. Our sign expert has testified that he believes the signs are suitable and kind of, not going to put words in his mouth, but kind of the best design possible given the constraints on the property, given that, we have county right-of-way on both sides, and we would like to keep the signs within our boundary lines. And as Ms. Gregory noted, we feel that we meet the C1 and C2 criteria, so I would just ask that the board look favorably on the application.
Thank you. And just so the record is complete, any members of the public have any, make any sworn testimony in favor of or opposed to the application? And seeing none. So I just wanted to get that for the record.
Thank you.
So, absent objection, in the absence of any motion for a continuance, the evidentiary record is closed, and no further testimony or evidence shall be heard or received. So the members shall now have the opportunity to state and discuss their views on the application. Anybody?
I mean, I'm familiar with the building. I haven't gone there for an appointment to the building, but it makes perfect sense to me. It's definitely, I think it meets the C1 and the C2. It's irregularly shaped, peculiar difficulties, whatever. I think it meets the goals of seeing it. Obviously, we wish you could be more visible coming southbound on Cedar, but it is what it is, and 60% is better than 0. So I'm in favor of it.
Yeah, I mean, knowing the building and, having, gone there occasionally and, driven by there a million times, I think the signage certainly is helpful. You're constrained with the retaining wall, I get it. So unfortunately, you have to work with the hand that you're dealt. But also, I'm supportive of it as well.
I'd say that I think since we were on maybe the council, this goes back many years, that this is very exciting for this section of town. This is the most activity. Hanging a sign at this side of town is going to be very, because this is a forgotten part of the town, right? Weren't they complaining that you don't see anything at this half of the
like right at
town?
the very edge, West
Yeah, we
Orange
forget
there.
about this part of town. Nothing ever happens here, so this is exciting. We should have a sign that puts up, this is very exciting, so I'm in favor of it.
Do you approve?
I approve.
I would just say that thank you for taking time and making the detailed presentation of the sign and answering our questions. Absolutely, I
Any
think
conditions?
60% is better than 0. I'll be approving.
And Gabe, you have nothing to add. I should have asked you this before.
Everything's been addressed by
We
the...
had your report, so thank you for that. We appreciate that. So if I can have a motion in a second, or Barry, was that your motion?
Yeah, I'll move.
There's a motion?
Second.
And Kate, there's a second.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Buptani?
Yes.
Mr. Reber?
Yes.
Mr. Dufford?
Yes.
Ms. Khanna?
Yes.
And Mr. Fernandez?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank
you very much. Have a good evening.
For a well-presented application. Thank you for all your testimony. We appreciate it. If I can have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you, standing in for Mr. Diner. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
I worked
Thank you.
Michael